Hi everyone, this is Richard. In this video we are going to learn how to install the Dart plugin for the Atom text editor. And we will be using that from now on in these videos as we learn about programming in Dart. This is a complete change from my just last video I was talking about learning with WebStorm, but I've just recently learned how to install Atom and I just wanted to share this. It's a very good text editor. It doesn't do as much for you. That's why we'll go over this, okay? So this is, by the way, KDE Fedora. I'm sure GNOME is similar to this. I used to use that a few years back, but it's similar to it. So I don't think it's going to be different enough that it's going to make a big deal for you. If it is, please feel free to leave a comment in the comment section. I've struggled with installing this for a long time. This is also in a virtual machine. So this is under a Virt Manager, the KVM. It is installed inside of here. So this is a fresh environment. I installed absolutely nothing inside of here. Okay, so let's go to atom.io. If you have Ubuntu or Debian running, you'll want to download .deb. For RPM, this is for OpenSUSE or Fedora. I think it works for OpenSUSE. Again, I haven't used really OpenSUSE in the past. We'll click on it, download it under Documents, Atom right here. We'll also download the Dartium and the Dart Sdk. Okay, so to download those, you have to go to dartlang.org. Hope that's not new news for you. Click on Linux, installing Dart SDK on Linux. Ignore all this stuff. We'll do this old school. Installing from a zip file, 64-bit Linux for me. Dartium is down here. So click on it, save as, and we saved it right there. Okay, so that's all we're going to need for this browser. Then we'll go ahead and open this up, go to the documents, and right-click on the Atom RPM. Almost all systems open with an installer. Again, if you have any issues with your operating system, please leave a comment in the comment section. I think even Windows is similar to this. Keep continuing. We downloaded it from the site so we can trust it. In the meantime, I'm going to create a new folder called Dart, and I'm going to put all of my Dart related stuff in that folder. So I'll double click on this, extract to Dart. So I'll do both Dartium, the Dart SDK I'll double click on, and extract to Dart. Okay, that's done. That's done. When you go here under the Dart and you try to click on Chrome Wrapper, that should open it up, but it doesn't actually work. Why not? Well, I'm going to have to go in the terminal, and I left myself a cheat sheet right here called example. This will be listed down below. You have to create what we call a symlink. I'll address that in a second here. A symlink in order for Dartium to actually work. It is different from Fedora and Debian or Ubuntu. It's different for those two, so look down below and I'll have what you're supposed to type in the terminal. Again, terminal right there. This one is console. I can't remember what the GNOME console was named, but type in terminal and you can find it. Here, package that is being modified was not found on your system. Could not install files. Ignore that. It was installed, okay? So now we go back. So what I did was the sudo ln-s. Okay, we created a symlink. So we'll go back to Dartium. We'll double click on the Chrome wrapper and let's hope it opens. It does open. Okay, so now it actually works. Now we'll go back to here and I'm going to say create applications. Where are we going to put our applications? In this file as we're learning again. And I'm going to create in my first application starter. All right, so then we're going to open up Atom, which is either under development or you can type ATOM. And again, I think GNOME does the same thing. Install a package. Open installer. We want Dart, right? And it's going to be the one called Dartlang. That's the one that's most up to date, that's still in development. Then we want to go through something called Linter, Linter. We want to look for that because Dartlang does depend upon Linter. We keep scrolling down. Linter, none of this other stuff, just the base. And we'll install that as well. Okay? And that will be soon as we get there. I think that worked. While we're waiting for that one also, where is the Dart SDK? Dart SDK is right here, okay? So that would be home/Richard, that's missing there, right? /Dart/SDK. We'll need to know that. So right under packages, it installed settings. If it doesn't show up settings, it probably means it hasn't installed yet. You sometimes actually have to not reboot, but restart the Atom. Every once in a while that happens. So home, Richard, Dart SDK. And it says Dart SDK is found right here, so I did good. Keep going down. Because I'm a beginner, I usually click on a lot of these things. I'm not sure what most of them do. I figure the more the better, because that's always true, right? Okay, good, and we're all set. So now I could start closing some of these things down, and let's make our first web application. Well, we're not going to do that quite yet, but what I'll do is open folder, and remember, we go back here to Dart, Applications, and Starter. Now, if you saw the last video, WebStorm does create a lot of these for you, so we do have to create these from the very beginning. Not the end of the world, it's a little harder to set up. So I'm going to create under the starter, right-click, new folder, and call it web. And then on the web, I'm going to right-click, new file. What are the 3 files to create a web application? Remember, it's index.html. All web applications start with that. Click back on web, right-click again, and we repeat the process. Then there's a main.dart, remember? And what's the third component to any web application? Main.css. So you'll need a CSS, a Dart, and an HTML in almost all web applications, all complicated web applications. We'll click back on the starter and we'll create a new file, one last one, called pubspec.yaml. What pubspec.yaml actually does is it uses the pub package manager and it directs it to say, hey, what do we need here in order to get the dependencies, in order to compile it to JavaScript. This gives us more information. I'll go over more in detail in probably the next video. But for right now, I'm going to say name is starter, environment, and we'll need this because we're going to use the pub package manager in a little bit, and it'll look for this file, sdk equals any. And let's save all right here. Okay, that's our first web application, even though there's nothing really going on. Now, how do we get Dartium to access this information? That's the question, okay? So you go back to Dart. If I'm losing you at all, leave a comment in the comment section, okay? Because I am kind of moving quickly here. We go to the Dart SDK. Actually, let's go through the terminal. Where am I? Right here. See? CD. Right here. Dart. What comes after that? Applications, right? And what comes after that? Starter. Right here, where the pubspec.yaml is, now we want to use the pub package manager to get this and to display it on the web server. Excuse me, on the browser. How to do that is go to home, okay? Go to home, click on show hidden files. This file right here, .bashrc, okay, the .bashrc, you want to double click on that one, or you can open it, this opens it in KWrite, you can open it in Atom as well. So it's right there. And you want to, I used a cheat sheet right here so I don't have to keep typing it over and over again. Because this is like the 50th video I'm doing, okay? So it's more like the 20th. Export it right here and save. So basically this tells you where the pub package manager is and to use the pub commands. All right, so we will close this down. That's all we really need to do. And And to clean this up, we'll hide these files again. All right, so go back to the terminal. I'm not sure where I closed that down. cd Dart applications starter. Okay, so we do pub serve. So it says here on the browser, you're going to get the information from this web application. Now there's nothing on there, so how about we just say hello world? So this is more of a web page than a web application. Save all, okay? And we will open up the Dartium. Dart. Double click on Chrome wrapper and go to local host 8080, because remember that's what it told us to do. And we always listen to our computer. Localhost 8080 right there. And it says hello world. Okay? So to make it easier on us, so every time we open it up, on startup, open a specific page or set of pages, just say localhost. So from now on, if you just click on Chrome wrapper, it'll just automatically, don't ask again, it'll automatically load right inside of there. Okay? So now there's a problem when you think about it. Every single time I have to go to the same place and type in pubserv, and that's kind of annoying. So what I will do, and this is not necessary, you could just do that every time. So for Dartium, I'm going to put a link right here, okay? And I'm going to also create a script right here, and I'm going to call it, actually, I'm not going to call it here. I'm going to put it right here. I'm going to call it starter serve for the for pubserv, okay? And I'll open it with, actually, I'm going to .sh so it'll remind me. I'm going to open it again with Atom, and I have a cheat sheet right inside here what that script is going to say. If you don't know anything about scripts, which is pretty much like what I am, just copy it. Exclamation point, pound sign, bin bash, it opens up a shell, so in other words, the terminal. cd, change directory. This tilde sign means start from /Richard or /user. My user would be Richard. Start from there, the tilde sign, then go from there. Dart, applications, starter, pubserv. Okay, so we'll save that as well. All right, so in the future, I'll just be able to double click on that. Oh, wait a minute. Open with bash. I think GNOME has something like this as well. Open with. Remember the application associated for this type of file, because it's a shell script anyway. Double click on it. It's working. And we click on the Chrome wrapper, and it is no longer working. Every once in a while this happens. Every once in a while this happens. I don't exactly know why. I'm going to bring this out here, by the way. Just a link. I'm going to reboot this. You don't have to do this every single time, but every once in a while it doesn't work. And when I reboot, this is not going to take long. And when I reboot, it just kind of goes away. And that's what we got left. Okay, now we're back. So what I'll do is I'll click starter serve, excuse me. Click on that. And it's working. It's good. Then I should have Chrome wrapper and then it actually works. Okay, so from now on, every time you load it, it should be functional. Okay? If anybody knows why you have to reboot in those circumstances, can you let me know? Because I really don't know the answer to that. But I do know from now on, whenever I do boot into it, I put these icons just as a shortcut. So I could click here, and you don't need to. You could keep going into the file right here and just click on it itself. But that's a lot of clicks. It's nice and easy. I'm going to use these things a lot. And Atom text editor is right there. So that's pretty much it. In the next video, we'll go over some of the details that we just skipped over, but that was the basics of setting it up. From now on, we'll just click on Atom, Chrome, and Starter Server in order to access the Starter web application. Okay? And we'll go from there. All right, thank you very much.